who won his 5th and final Dakar, declared, "One of us had to win, and unfortunately, it was me." 1988, the Algerian desert swallows the Dakar. In 1988, the Algerian desert nearly swallowed the Dakar whole. For this, the 10th edition, there had never been so many participants. 603 competitors lined up at the start and set off merrily in the sand of the opening African stage between El Oued and Hassi Messaoud. On this rally were Ari Vatanen in a Peugeot 405 and Juha Kankkunen in a Peugeot 205. Hubert Auriol had once and for good stepped away from his motorcycle in favour of a buggy, while Jacques Lafitte took part in his first Dakar in a Porsche. The first stage on the African continent is always a bit strange. It marks the end result of long and expensive projects and the true beginning of the adventure. Some struggled, of course, but it was nothing more than a very normal Dakar situation. For the organisers, the first stage was run quite calmly until the tenors made their way to the finish line.
Oh là là, enfoiré d'étape de merde. Bonjour.
Je te dis que tu vas pas récupérer tout le monde tout de suite. Hein.
Mais c'est faisable.
Faisable, il y a 2-3 passages, je peux te dire, c'est un peu de quitoudou pour passer.
René Metge, who was in charge of the course layout, had warned how hard this stage was going to be. But neither he nor the competitors anticipated such a difficult set of circumstances. Those who didn't get stuck, at least for a while, were few and far between. Hubert Auriol retired here. Cyril Neveu crashed and broke the handlebar on his bike. The trucks made their way as best they could, and many already began to bury their illusions in the Algerian desert. The stage proved to be at the limit of anything feasible in sand, and proved to be the ultimate physical and mental challenge. In particular, it was a living hell for the trucks. Their sheer weight made it near impossible for them to drive over the dunes. And those competitors who did manage to take it to the finish had to do their own service work. The men became exhausted from their overwhelming day, and their hopes were fading. As night fell, the desert resembled nothing more than a mechanical cemetery. And in these unforgiving dunes, where they brood over their misfortunes, grumblings began to be heard in the middle of the night.
Bon, et ton pote, on va le voir en passant.
Ouais. C'est pas fait pour des amateurs. Bon, alors, quand on nous a redit cette année encore que ce serait de la navigation, c'est pas de la navigation, c'est pas du pilotage, c'est un problème de puissance. Et on passe pas. avec le sac à dos 40 litres d'essence sur une moto, on passe pas.
In the early morning hours, the situation hadn't improved and it was difficult to know how many rescues were made in this first African stage. The organisers went to have a look for themselves.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe sur la piste ce matin?
On est perdu. On est perdu. On est arrivé, bon, on a suivi la passe là. Et puis tu arrives, tu as une dune infraîchissable, il y a des camions plantés de partout. On a fait demi-tour. Et là on vient de voir la police locale qui nous ont bien dit il n'y a que cette piste donc le passage.
Il doit y avoir un passage par là et il faut le trouver.
The men lined up on the summit of the dunes. Their race came to an end just 4 days after leaving Paris. The broom truck accomplished its regrettable task. Dejection was written on the faces of the many that fell victim to the incredible difficulties. And of course, there were always more to pick up on the return trip. In the Algerian desert, exhaustion is the common language.
이제 더 갈 기력이 없어졌어요. 갈 수가 없어요. 이건 지옥, 정신이야.
163 competitors were eliminated on the opening African stage in the '88 Dakar.
You need a lot to survive in the fast lane. Here,